Hey, Brad, would receiving emergency Medicaid due to pregnancy count as a public charge?
No.
Kenson's asking, after approval of the I-130, what's next?
Who's sponsoring you? If it, eventually you got to apply for a green card. If you're on a waiting list, you got to wait. If you're an immediate relative, then you either adjust your status. If you're eligible, you do a provisional waiver. If you're not eligible and you're physically here, or you're in another country and you process back home. I don't know enough about their situation.
Dana said, my friend admitted that she shoplifted in 2002. However, no police were involved or charges were filed. The shop security took the item back and let her go and told her just don't do it again. Is there going to be any problem filing for citizenship? She didn't even tell on her I-751 about this.
No, because she was never charged with a crime.
Claudette Fisher is saying, can you advise how an affidavit employment section should fill out if the petitioner who's a green card holder is working out of the country temporarily? The petitioner filed the tax returns last year to report earnings overseas.
Well, then you submit, you show where you're earning and where your money's coming from, even if you're working temporarily abroad in another country.
And also, will the new public charge affect the filing if I don't submit my affidavit before October 15th? I just received my case and invoice number.
Yes, it will, because it affects everyone who hasn't got an immigrant visa before October 15th, unless you filed an adjustment. If you filed an adjustment before October 15th, the prior law applies. Everyone in another country, if you didn't walk in for your interview and get your immigrant visa, the new law will apply.
Nikki said, if my mom is a green card holder, how long will it take to get my 20-year-old brother if she filed for him on February 3rd, 2019, and he's turning 21 in February?
That's 6 more years.
Sherlock saying, quick question, my I-485 got denied because I didn't send in my birth certificate. I didn't send in, our lawyer said she wants to appeal because it's just a document. Is that wise, or should we just refile?
Refile. It's not wise to appeal. It's certainly not wise to make motions to reopen. Refile.
Marie said, I've got a question given my adjustment process with my husband's new cancer diagnosis. Last week, the doctors told me that he's not going to be with us much longer, so I'm frustratingly trying to pull my life together. If my husband passes away before my combo card or interview date, what should I do?
The case would convert to a widow petition, and as long as you can prove it was a real marriage, your name is on the death certificate showing that you are the surviving spouse, you can prove it was a real marriage, make sure you document that now, you should be okay.
So can I just finish? Because I don't think it's going to change anything, but I want to make sure. So they've been married for 3 years. They've got a 4-year-old son together. She's currently on an F1 visa because they were doing long distance, and she came here to do her PhD.
That's fine. She's going to be a widow.
Okay.
It automatically converts. They have a child together, so they can prove it's a bona fide match.
Okay.
All right. Sheena Bullock saying, how long do you know or estimate the time for an adult child to have his approved I-130 if the parents become a citizen? The I-130 was submitted about 15 months before the I-130 was submitted.
It's years and years.
Our next question comes from Tariq, who said, I entered the U.S. with a K-1 visa and I got married within 6 months, but within 6 months she refused to help me get the paperwork necessary. We fought a lot and I kept pushing her until I got my driver's license and social security number. I'm assuming he metaphorically pushed her. After a year of marriage, she started asking me for money. I had my worker's permit and a lot of stuff, and I couldn't afford it at that time. I asked for her to wait. Once I get enough money, I can start helping with everything, and she refused to wait and cut the heat off and stopped buying food. She asked for a divorce, which I granted her, and I've applied for VAWA, but it's still not been approved. Now I've met a nice lady and we got married September of last year. We had a son. The USCIS received my VAWA petition October 15th of 2018 and all the evidence on March 4th. 1. Does my second marriage affect my VAWA? Now, just in case the dates, he applied for his VAWA. He got the receipt for his VAWA.
I already know the answer to all
after he got married.
All right, I know all the answers. You didn't have to go through all that.
Okay.
All right, so this is the story.
Okay.
You came on a K-1 visa. You can't get a green card through the second marriage. Okay, so you can only get a green card through the first marriage. You're going to get a green card through the first marriage through one of 3 scenarios. 1, you and your spouse are together. You file the adjustment, and everything's hunky-dory, which is not the case. 2, you file a VAWA, but right now there's no more VAWA. We don't know what's going to happen. 3, there's a special rule for people who came on K-1 visas, on fiancé visas. Under a case law, actually, it's called matter accessory. Matter accessory says that if you came on a K-1 visa and you got married and there exists somewhere in this world, filed or unfiled, an I-864 affidavit of support by your U.S. citizen spouse, and you can prove it was a bona fide marriage. You don't need your spouse to get the green card. You can even be divorced from your spouse. It sounds to me that the easiest route for you to have taken would have been the matter of cesse route, because you told us in your question that you got a work permit and social. And the only way to get the work permit and social was to have had filed an adjustment at some point, and your wife would have had to have given an I-864 affidavit of support, which is on file somewhere. So the answer is, we can wait to see what happens with VAWA. You can refile again under matter of cesse, and that's what I would do.
I was denied citizenship in 2012 as I had a DVPC 273.5A. So I researched that.
Thank you very much.
That is
because I don't know what
right.
the DVCPC 721AA is.
Okay, that's domestic violence.
Where? What state?
California.
California.
All right. So this was in 2011.
Okay.
DV was dismissed in 2015 under the PC 1230.4 and reduced to misdemeanor.
What is
that? And
that?
that just means that the criminal case dismissal, like expungement.
Okay.
This is in California as well. Okay.
The answer is this.
Can I, let me just,
I already know
real
the
quick.
answer, but yes.
Okay, 3-year probation, no jail term, have a 10-year LPR card. Resident since 2012, LPR card expires in 2024. Can I reapply for citizenship? I live in California, first offense only.
No, because the first offense on domestic violence is an automatic deportation. Not automatic deportation, but certainly deportable. And that happens right when you got your green card. And the fact that it got expunged doesn't mean that that conviction is taken off your record for immigration purposes. We need to know more, which the answer we don't know is, when did you enter the United States? Because we have to figure out whether or not you're cancellation eligible, because if you're not cancellation eligible and immigration sees this domestic violence and they put you in deportation, you will be deported. So you should not be filing anything. You should not be passing go. You should not be collecting $200. These are monopoly analogies. If anyone knows Monopoly, you should be calling your lawyer immediately.
Our next question comes from Jamie, who said, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed your birthday, Brad.
I did, thank you.
I'm in removal. That was a downer, I'm sorry. I'm in removal, and I'm out on bond. My child's father is a U.S. citizen. I have a master hearing in March. If I get deported, what are the chances of my child's father being given custody? Will his name being on the birth certificate create issues when I need to get her passport and eventually bring her home with me if I get deported?
Your deportation has nothing to do with custody. Okay? So to get a U.S. passport, you need both the mother and father to sign the passport applications, whether you're deported or not, whether you're in America or in another country. If you're in another country and the father wants to screw you over and your child is in America, the father can. Father can go into family court and say, I want sole custody of this child. You're in another country. There's no way you can come back to fight that. Now all of a sudden, you're off the passport application. The father controls this child, has full guardianship of this child, and you have no control of whether this child ever goes to visit you or not. So you should be taking care of all these issues now before you get deported.
And there's a separate question also from Jamie. How long after an RFE is received does it generally take for a petition to be approved?
I don't know what petition you're talking about.
So a permanent resident father filed for his unmarried daughter who was under 21 at the time, but now she's 22.
Could be 1 day, could be 3 months, could be 9 months, could be over a year.
Okay.
All right. Chuka is saying, a friend filed married joint tax in 2018, filed married separate 2019, but went to file joint 2020. He's due for an I-751 by March 2020. Would the 2019 tax be a problem?
Absolutely, because it showed for that particular year you didn't have a joint economic relationship. I would suggest amending it if that's not the case.
Our next question comes from Keisha, who said, does USCIS contact your landlord in a VAWA case?
Yes.
My landlord was involved in the abuse from my husband.
Yes, they could contact your landlord. But if your landlord was part of, as an abuser,
yeah,
then make sure that's clear in your application.
Right, because that is not then a trusted source
Correct.
of information.
Correct.
All right,
Yeah.
Max Santos saying, can my friend who filed an affidavit of support for me, He already sponsored someone the same year. So
You can file all the affidavits of support for as many people as you want, as long as you have a good income.
So if yes, will they look at the sponsor's household plus mine, or his household and myself only?
They're going to look at the sponsors, the second sponsors, yours, the number of people the second sponsor previously filed. It's a whole totality of thing.
Our next question comes from Cindy, who said, is it possible for me to file my citizenship application without a divorce certificate or attending the interview without a divorce certificate? My husband left and I have not officially divorced him.
Yeah, as long as you're basing it on 5 years, it's not a problem.
Okay, Audrey's saying, please discuss what are strong evidence of psychological abuse in VAWA cases.
Every case is different. I would need to know your specific situation.
And our last question for right now goes to Cardo, who said, I'm a green card holder and I have a DWI. I did some session and some other session, went to court and dropped to a misdemeanor and then a violation. And then I paid a ticket. Can I travel out of the country and then back?
If it's a traffic infraction, I've never seen a traffic infraction deportable offense. If it's a DWI, that's a different situation. So I would suggest before you travel, since this is a criminal arrest, at least it started as a criminal arrest, that you have a good lawyer look at your disposition. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.